So Julie my wife didn't really deserve to, keep me dragging her through it. And I said, we should think about, where we could go. And the industry changed so much at that time that I just said, when I left Maryland and went off into the unknown, it took care of me. And so I knew that I left everything behind in Los Angeles, moved forward so that my son could go to a really good school here in Nashville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. We got into the school by the first time that we met with the school, and that meant the world to me. I'm dyslexic, meaning my son is dyslexic. So I knew he would struggle in school if I didn't get him to the right school. And I didn't want him to go through the suffering that I had gone through. I didn't think it was fair to him. But I knew he was dyslexic, and it was gonna happen.
But you were able to recognize it.
Yeah.
Early. I mean, heck, you noticed it in college, right?
Yeah, but I didn't know it at the time. Okay. I didn't realize
you were just on to like I'm not retaining. I had my roommate. Yeah, but
like it was
you're
just
getting Camden at 6, 5.
Yeah. So when he was getting ready for school, I was ready to take care of him, to give him the best opportunity in this world. So Nashville presented itself, and it was like 2018. And, then I even having cousins here and family here, and Julie has a wonderful family, and they just embraced us. And so I was like, let's go. And so I literally got rid of everything, and I moved out here, and I made 5 phone calls. I called Tom Hanks, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Nick Gonzalez, Steve Zahn, and said, okay, I moved. Then I finally moved. Like Zahn was like, you should have moved a long time ago. I was like, but I don't have any contacts to get any more work. So I need you guys to help me. Frank Grillo was the other one. And I was like, I literally don't have any income. Like nothing's coming my way. I don't know I can't audition. I can't fight for anything. I need help. And Nick and all of them had opportunity for me. But Nick Gonzalez hooked me up with Gary Wheeler. Mm-hmm. And Gary Wheeler said, I'd like to hire you for this movie I'm doing called Blue Ridge. It's about a guy who leaves Los Angeles, moves to a small town to be closer to his family, and becomes a town sheriff. He was a former vet, and he thinks he's going to take it easy and be in a small town. But
so you can relate to that part.
Something horrible happens in a small town. He's got to figure it out. So it was, it found me. Mm-hmm. And I found it. And by the grace of God, I literally found my way again. And so I did this pilot. It was a movie. And then it turned out to be, they came back to me and said, we'd like to make it into a TV series.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So did it kind of fall in your lap? I mean, did you had the contacts from Tom and them that led to that?
It was all Nick Gonzalez.
Nick.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how was Nick, you see this, I know, I've told him a million times, but yeah, it was Nick. He was listening to the Spirit, and he was like, yeah, you need to meet Gary. And then Gary is incredible.
Doing it your way, different than the LA way, right?
Yeah.
Is that something you knew you were going to have to do when you moved?
Yeah, I knew I would have to either... did
you fly back and forth, kind of like still holding on to that? Like, you're here, but like when I first moved to Nashville, I panicked. I was like, I'm never going to work again. I moved on a whim. Similarly, I was done. I met my wife, Carrie, and I just said, I'm out. That's what I moved. But I was scared. At first, I just kept going back and forth, and then it just got less. I would even color correct my work back in there. Like, I couldn't color correct it here. I just, you know what I mean? Like, flying back in, spending whatever you're spending to go do that and it just got less and less and less and less until you just kind of find your own routine. And it worked out really great for me.
Yeah.
How has, you mentioned dyslexia, how has that presented itself? It's got to be a pretty challenging thing with scripts and lines, and how is that to navigate through? I mean, this kind of...
Yeah, when I get a...
That's an interesting... Do you panic when you get a script? Like, oh, shit.
Well, if I have time with the script, and I used to, since the very beginning, I had a lot of time. when I would get hired, I would be able to like become a magician before I played Houdini.
Okay.
I got to learn how to play music before I was Jimmy.
Sure.
So I had time, and with that time, that's all I need. Because then I soak up these words, and they become part of me. It's when everything's presented and pushed upon me in a very fast way. Like Jeffrey Dean Morgan is also dyslexic, and he when he gets his Walking Dead monologues, he panics too. But eventually, once you get in front of the camera, you're much better off because then everything starts to make sense. It all starts to come to you. Dyslexics can't read or write well.
Okay.
It takes them more time. They need more time. If they hear something, they usually don't forget it. So, like listening to audio programs, listening to the dialogue as I'm driving to set.
I was going to ask, can you have somebody
Yep.
read your lines on tape?
Yep.
And you apply.
Yep. That makes it.
That would work for me.
Yeah. You might be dyslexic.
I might.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the things I wrote in there were like, what was that? That's.
So, I mean, I'm a writer as well. So it's like there's new tools that help me dramatically,